Last episode, we left Rowan receiving the Akalusha's invitation from Elizabeth. This was a purple badge that holds significant meaning towards their family. The Akalushas were unlike most nobles who prioritize bloodline. These ones give importance to talent on top of anything else. And using this method, they have debuted lots of talented individuals that made them secure their position as one of the two pillars of the empire. They usually offer their badge to the ones who have displayed genius potential to be part of their family. And right now, the same invitation was offered to our MC. Ronan was now holding an item that could provide him all the things he needed to become stronger. Our MC then asked Elizabeth if she was allowed to give this badge out to other people. And this question made her smile. She figured that Ronan already knew the use of the badge. Ronan then told her that he just heard it from some passerby. And that statement made him recall a certain individual that made a huge role in his previous life. That moment was when he was inside this battle camp. The person in front of him showed the same badge that Elizabeth had offered to him. At that time, Ronan asked this person if he could also join this prominent family even if he was just a peasant after receiving such an invitation. And the one that he was talking to was his Grand Commander, Edeshina Kalusha. She confirmed that things were all possible as long as someone has this badge. She also revealed that after receiving this, someone from the Patriarch would conduct a test first to really see if the person was really worthy. But since the people who received these badges were all talented, they should be capable of passing it. Edeshin then informed our MC that when he had already made up for the sins he did through his accomplishments in war, he may end up receiving an invitation as well. Ronan held his breath after hearing such an opportunity. His Grand Commander also told him that this guy right here has really quite the talent that Akalushas were looking for. Back to the current situation, Ronan was still staring at the badge. The moment he had been waiting for since his past life was already happening. Elizabeth opted not to explain any information since our MC already knew the meaning of the invitation. She just hoped that he would make a wise choice. She added that even if Ronan was born a beast, he could still become a sheep, especially when he mingled alongside these guys long enough. This lady said this statement with utmost pride. After that, she went on her way together with her minions and left Ronan to decide first. As for our MC, he thought that geniuses are always doing whatever they want, not knowing that he also has this kind of attitude. Asel could also be seen being relieved as Elizabeth's intimidating presence was gone. In Ronan's mind, he thought that this was really not a bad thing as he just gained a method of contact with a prominent family now. And by looking at the badge, he knew that this would surely be helpful to him. He also planned to utilize this connection in the future. Philin Academy is an educational institute that prioritizes a student's abilities above everything else. Depending on their grades, their life inside this environment can greatly change. The most perfect example for this kind of statement was the dormitories where the students would have their stay. The intermediate ranked students were assigned to this place called Nishaya Hall. Each student gets a clean room. There's also a high-grade cafeteria and more great facilities. Overall, it is a pretty nice dormitory with all the things that students need. On the other hand, the students who make up the bottom 30% are assigned to this place, the Crater Hall, which really looked like a worn-down dormitory. And usually, students would start their first day in Philin Academy with whining and shouting. This one right here was complaining about the place. He claimed that he was part of a noble family and there's no way he would be staying in a shabby place like this. But the guy that was assigned to a court then maintained a poker face. It was as if he already expected this kind of reaction. This one also revealed that there will be no servants that will service the Crater Hall. On top of that, there will be 4 people per room. The cafeteria, showers, and bathroom area all to be shared. He then added that these were the Academy's rules. And there's really nothing he could do about it. All he could suggest to them was to study really hard, because otherwise, these guys could end up staying in this place even for the next semester. And last but not the least, the place where the top 10% of the students, including Ronan, are assigned to was the Nabardozer Hall. Our MC had this kind of shocked expression as he saw this place. In the annals of Philin Academy's history, This individual could only be aptly characterized with one phrase: or seek as hell. All of the things inside this place were extravagant. It looked like a place inside a palace. Rowan was still wondering why the academy was giving all of these to the top students. But then he noticed something. These were the papers that students needed to fill out so they could register to the classes that they wanted to attend. Ronan then figured that all he needed to do was to write down the classes on the timetable. He thought of the tips that were given to the first years, and that was to focus on adjusting during the first semesters. It was said not to choose too many of the subjects given, but as he looked at the available classes, Ronan smiled and thought that they were all interesting. That's when this guy made the audacious choice to mess with the rules and attend all of them. After a few more minutes, Ronan had this satisfied look on his face because he was done filling the forms out. He thought that this might be a little too much, but he can't let all of these opportunities go to waste. And since he was in Fill-In Academy, he would want to take all the classes he wanted. The day went on and our MC finally attended his first class. But the instructor of the Empire's swordsmanship basics named A-Z told him that it was now all over for him. Rowan was dumbfounded hearing this kind of remark. The class just started and he has not learned anything yet. He then started to complain towards the professor and asked what he meant. A-Z then smiled and explained his side. He revealed that even if they just began, our MC had already shown his skills. Rowan has performed all the basics of the Empire's swordsmanship techniques. As for the rules of the academy, students were asked to leave the class once they learn everything on the syllabus. A-Z also added that if he would let Ronan stay in this class, the other students might be demotivated by the slower progress they were making. With that, this professor smiled and gave our MC a thumbs up as he suggested that he just move forward. The day quickly passed and we could now see that Ronan was just sitting in front of this lake. He also had this gloomy atmosphere around him. He was still disappointed with the things that happened all day. Turns out, it was not only the swordsmanship class that evicted him. The archery class has also made him leave. It was also the same with the monster hunting class. Rowan had this annoyed expression as he remembered that he was just kicked out by all of his professors. He claimed that this was not how he imagined his stay inside the academy. And while he was still whining, a voice was heard behind him, and this one asked why Ronan was not in class. Our MC immediately looked at the source of the voice and figured who it was. The one that approached him was Instructor Nabirose, and she stood beside him. Instructor Nabirose smiled as she figured out why Ronan was wandering in this place, and that was because he just completed all of them. Our MC confirmed this information and he asked if all of the classes were supposed to be like this. He commented that he had expected Fillion would be better than this. And while he was whining in front of Nabirose, this instructor thought that this was just to be expected from Ronan. Him completing all the classes in one day was only natural, as this guy had the ability to copy her technique even though he had just seen it once. Nabirose then told him that she couldn't just turn a blind eye as a fill-in instructor. She subtly offered her hand and asked Ronan to give her his sword. Ronan got confused, but he still complied. Nabirose then told him that she was about to teach him a very important lesson. Our MC was just about to ask her another question about this one taking his sword. But before he could finish his question, a powerful blast was sent and it just went past him. The blast landed on the lake and it created this explosion which stunned our MC. Ronan had no idea what just happened. While this guy was still amazed, Nabirose commented that this was all a chunk of metal could do. She also added that something like this sword shouldn't be called a weapon as it will only wear down the owner's power. Ronan listened to what she was saying attentively. He knew that he was about to learn something interesting. Nabirose told him to watch closely as this lady moved her hand to her sword. The atmosphere around them also changed in an instant. Things were all tense until she unsheathed her sword. Ronan's eyes were in disbelief at what he saw next. Instructor Nabirose just performed a quick slash using her weapon. The amount of power that was released was also unbelievable. The wave that this attack created just went past our MC, and behind him was the lake that received the attack. This one looked like it was now cut in half. The blast that Nabiros created using her own weapon exceeded the amount of force she was able to release using Ronan's sword. Drops of water slowly fell down to our MC's hair. The whole area was enveloped with silence after that demonstration. While having this kind of expression, Nabiros asked Ronan if he finally got what she wanted him to figure out. This formidable lady just revealed to our main character the areas where he still needed improvement, and it was none other than a personalized weapon. These pieces of steel that sturdy and sharp were the ones that warders used to fight against one's opponent. Weapons shouldn't break when wielded, and even if it does, warders could just obtain a new one. In short, these things were expendable. Up until now, that was the kind of description our MC had with these things. But all of that changed as he witnessed what Instructor Nabiros demonstrated. Having a perfect weapon would exponentially bring out the power and potential that one person could have. Our MC could only think of this one as too ridiculous. He was certain that Nabiros used the sword that's in her hands. She also performed the same slash, but hers proved to be several levels stronger than the previous one. Nabiros then cut off his train of thoughts as she commented that one breath and a handful of strength could make such a difference in one's life on the battlefield. Wasting these small details could also determine one's life. She also revealed that if Ronan would be using mana, he really needs to find a new weapon that is suited for him. But she added that he wouldn't still get this because he can't still use mana. Our MC's hand moved as he heard this information. He then asked Nabiros if she knew this all this time, and she confirmed it. But even if he was still not able to use mana, this instructor praised him because he was still too amazing. She assured Ronan that one day, he would also be able to use mana. And to prepare him for using that kind of power, Instructor Nabiros commanded him to find a perfect weapon of his own. Ronan has been quiet the whole time, and it made Nabiros comment that this guy now has a lot of things going on in his mind. That was until our MC heard her asking him to attend her class. This was really an unexpected offer to have. Ronan asked her again if he could really attend, and Nabiros assured him even though the ones that attended her class were the second years and above. But before leaving, she emphasized that Ronan couldn't just bring that lump of steel he was wielding now. She told him to bring a proper one, and that was her only requirement for him to attend her class. The next day, the whole city was greeted with this fine weather. Ronan, together with these two beaches, were now standing in front of this wooden signage. Our MC told them what happened yesterday with Instructor Nabiros, so they accompanied him to find a new weapon. And to start things off, Ronan wanted to find the place that Sheolifin recommended to him last time. He followed the directions, but he was still not sure about it because it only led them in front of this shabby forge. Even Estelle and Maria commented that this doesn't look like the right place. They even added that it could collapse at one touch. They now wonder if this was really the blacksmith shop that the Grancha went to frequently. With this unsure smile, Ronan answered that he thought so. He claimed that they will confirm this once they went inside. After that, the group opened the door, but all they saw was some web cobs that were on the ceiling. This place looked a lot shabbier and disappointing than from the outside. The only thing that kept Ronan staying here was the words of Sheolifin. He knew that the sword saint wouldn't dare to lie. The door in front of them then opened and a hairy hand with long nails appeared. The owner of this hand also commented that it just became too noisy. Another stomp from his hairy feet was also heard. A huge creature has emerged and asked Ronan's group their identities. Seeing this made them freeze for a second. The creature continued on talking to them, and all the while, Estelle was already panicking. As for Ronan, he commented that this was really fascinating. The one that was talking with them was a wolf beastman, and this creature running a forge was really unusual. The wolf grew more impatient as his questions were not being answered by the group. He asked them if they were somewhat deaf. He was also about to send them off, but he stopped as Ronan showed him the thing that Sheolifin gave. Our MC also informed this wolf that they were there because they wanted to buy a weapon. He further added that it was Sheolifin that recommended this place as the weapons here are all premium. The wolf got interested as this guy in front of him has the symbol of the Grancha family, and as he inspected the group further, he felt the intriguing mana that was coming out from Asel and Maria. The wolf then teased them and commented that it really didn't matter if Ronan showed him that symbol. The important thing was if he was really indeed a Grantia. This one even yawned as he told Ronan to just get lost as they were not accepting customers like him. The situation was really getting out of hand. Our MC was about to negotiate more, but the wolf was already firm with his decision. Until this beastman thought of something. While licking its face, he informed Ronan that there's still a way for him to accept his request. The wolf pointed towards Asel and said that if Ronan could give him the arm of this guy, he would maybe consider the request. He thought of this condition because he was already hungry, and since Ronan looked like he was desperate, it was really worth trying. As for Asel, he was already hiding behind our MC, but as the wolf was laughing with this situation, Ronan was not. He then addressed the wolf with a more serious tone. While holding his weapon, Ronan warned the wolf and told him that he just crossed the line. In a swift movement, our MC then launched an attack and it landed cleanly on this one. The wolf had no way of dodging it. All he could do was to wonder what just happened as it groaned in pain. The wolf was sent a few meters backwards. Ronan then smiled as he claimed that he just felt a familiar feeling, and that was when his sword was hitting hard armor. Our MC then asked the wolf where his sturdy armor came from all of a sudden. This one was now equipped with this defensive armor while still coughing in pain. But then, our MC started walking towards the wolf and claimed that the armor was really not that important. This got the attention of the wolf. With this annoyed and furious expression, Ronan decided that he would just destroy the said armor, which made the wolf panic. This beastman pleaded and asked for forgiveness. He also revealed that this was just all a test. He informed Ronan that he was just following a protocol for those people who they have never seen before. In short, this wolf was just verifying our MC's skill. This one also added that he really wanted to test out his new invisible armor, so he tried provoking them on purpose. Ronan calmed down as he figured that this wolf had no intention of harming them. He also thought that the reason that this beastman gave was kinda original, but that doesn't mean that the wolf was telling the truth. But the beastman added his point that it would really be more shady if the blacksmith that the Grantia family uses had no verification process like this. The wolf also told our MC that if he was still doubting him, Ronan could ask Shalifen himself later. This one then further apologized for going overboard on the testing process. He also asked Asel for forgiveness and told him that he was not fond of eating people. Asel awkwardly smiled and thought that it was really a relief. After that rough start, the wolf introduced himself as Didikin. Apparently, he's an apprentice at this blacksmith and sometimes he's also the gatekeeper. Didikin then asked Ronan his name and confirmed his purpose of wanting to have his own weapon. He also told them to follow him inside as he will be the one to guide them. Didikin claimed that this area right here was just the entrance to their real workplace. The true foraging area was right at this way behind the door that was in front of them. The four then entered the room. Didikin asked them if they were now all good. He warned the group to prepare themselves mentally as he clicked this hidden button on the wall. Multiple gears then started to turn. The whole place sounded like there's a huge machine moving. After a few seconds, the room trembled as if it was moving. Ronan and his group could only look at the ceiling while they started heading downwards. Didikin then confirmed that this was an elevator made from a magic stone and a pulley. He claimed that this was the fastest way to get to the forge. And while they were heading down, Ronan also got his attention. A whole new place was revealed right in front of their eyes. Didikin then told them that this place was called the Grand Carpadoki. Ronan praised this area as he would never expect a place like this existed underground. Didikin just laughed and agreed. This wolf also told our MC to be more excited as he would take him somewhere really amazing. Ronan and Sita grew more interested as they heard this statement. As a reward for passing Didikin's test, this wolf has thought of the best reward, and that was to take Ronan to this dwarf who was considered to be the capital's best master craftsman. That's a wrap for today. If you enjoyed the story, please show your support by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Thank you, and I'll catch you in the next one.